I didn't know if the camera was on. Let me check. Yep, I think it is. Hi guys, it's Michelle with Garden Jargon, and I am here in my newly remodeled grow room. As you can see, it's still a little bit under construction, but we finally got the construction woodwork part done, and this is the official first video in my grow room. And I wanted to do a experiment video with you today. What I'm going to do is start onions. Today is February 17th, 2022. And I have always started onions from sets and from starts, which I don't remember the difference in the two, but one came in like a bushel of a bunch of green onions, and they were rubber band together, and I came home, soaked them in water, and then I plugged them in the ground. And then I've also purchased little bitty baby dried onions, and I plugged those into the ground, and those have always done really, really well for me, both kinds. However, this year I wanted to do an experiment and try my own onions from seed. So that's what we're going to try to do today. I may resort back to getting some sets or some seeds, some onion sets or seeds or whatever they're called. If you know, please put it in the description below. I'm not a professional. I don't claim to be. I just try different experiments and see how it works and share that with you. So thank you for coming along for the ride. So today I'm going to start several kinds of onions in 4 different kinds of seed starting mix. And we're going to kind of see if one is better than the other. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if even onions is the right thing to plant in these 4 different starting mixes, but we're going to try it just because we can, and because I can, and I have the space, and I have the 4 different seed starting mixes. So let's try it. So let me show you what I have going here in the grow room. So the 4 different mixes that we're going to use is this Jiffy seed starting mix. Not sponsored by any of these companies. This is just stuff that I purchased at the store. A friend of mine runs a greenhouse. His family runs a greenhouse, and they use this seed starting mix in their greenhouses to start their seeds as well as to up-pot their plants. I have these, which is a potting mix, Nature's Care. It says absorbs water like a sponge, sends nutrients right into the roots. So we're going to try a bunch of seeds in that. And then this is the homemade seed starting mix that I made in a previous video. So if you haven't seen that yet, the mixture of this is 4 scoops of perlite, 2 scoops of vermiculite, 2 scoops of perlite. Did I say that right? No. 4 scoops of peat moss, 2 scoops vermiculite, 2 scoops of perlite. That's what this is. And this is what my tried and true. I've done this every year. The only problem I have with this is when the seedlings start to grow and they're getting bigger and bigger, you have to give this nutrients. So I use a diluted fish emulsion or like a Miracle Grow or something like that. So the seeds we're going to start today are going to be these intermediate onions. I just Googled this, guys. I'm not an expert, like I said, but intermediate onions are basically an onion that needs 12 to 14 days of sun. Then you have a long day onion, and then you have short day onions. Well, I need long day onions or intermediate onions. So that's what I'm trying today. This red Amposta onion, we're going to try those. Sweet Spanish, these are a long day onion. This is a sweet Spanish onion. And then this is called Flat of Italy. That's what this one is. And then I'm also going to try some bunching onions, which I have these pelleted seeds. So we're going to try and experiment with these 2. This is the evergreen bunching. I have the parade ever bunching and the white Lisbon bunching onion. So that's what we're going to start in all of these seed starting trays. And as you can see, this Jiffy seed starting mix is all in this entire tray. And I will try all 3 of these onions in each one of these 6 packs. And then the bunching onions are going to go back here. So same thing with this. I'll put some of these onion seeds in this 6-pack, another onion in this 6-pack, and so on. Excuse me, it's dusty down here from the peat moss. Again, same thing. 3 big types of onions in here with the bunching onions. Sorry, I was choking to death. And same thing here. The 3 large onions are going to be started in the 6 cells, and then the bunching onions will go here in the back. The pelleted seeds, the one thing I do know about these is they take longer to germinate because the moisture has to get through the barrier of that pelleted seed. When I first bought these, I had no idea what they were or why they even looked like that, but come to find out, people that are commercial growers or growers that have growing equipment, those seeds fit better in a seeder. So when you have an apparatus that actually helps you plant the seeds, those seeds slide through the seeder way better than any other seed. That's why they make the pelleted ones. Why didn't I think of that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera up, and I'm going to show you how I'm planting the seeds, and then I'm going to hyperlapse through planting all of these trays because I don't want to bore you any more than I probably already have. Okie doke. Here we are with these. I've never even heard of it, but I truly, out of all onions on the planet, red onions are my absolute favorite. But this is the variety we're going to go ahead and plant. As you see here, it says intermediate onions, 115 days. 115 days. And it says here on the package, that's from the time you transplant it outside. Excuse me, goodness, I am choking up a storm. Go ahead and put a bunch in there because I'm going to go ahead and start them in this 6 cell here. See if I can get you closer. There we go. I'd say there's probably 12 or 14. This starting mix is a little bit on the dry side, but I do have a water bottle that I'm going to make sure I get the soil nice and wet because seeds need wet, heat, and sun to germinate. I wish it was easier to see these. You know, I'm glad I'm doing this experiment, but I will tell you, I had onions at my house and I planted them from the starts or the sets. I think the sets, where they look like a package of green onions that you get at the grocery store to eat in your kitchen. And they grew really well. And then I didn't pick them out of the ground before the winter came. And because I didn't pick them out of the ground before the winter came, they overwintered in the ground, which was fine because they ended up coming back in the spring. And they grew again in the spring in the same spot that I had them. And they went to flower. And I'm telling you, the flowers that an onion produces are beautiful. And I'd never seen such a beautiful flower. It's a big pom-pommy looking flower. And the bees absolutely loved them. I had the best pictures from the onion flowers, but apparently an onion that produces an onion bulb, its first year, the second year, it's going to go to flower. So when I picked all of them and the flowers ended up you know, drying up and the seeds were inside the flower, I laid them in my patio area, which was all wood chips and mulch. And then I cut the onions off and I preserved them, put them inside to preserve them in a dark, cool spot. And then all the seeds that fell out of the flowers ended up sprouting in my mulch. So when I tell you onions want to grow, they want to grow. And they definitely tried in my mulch. I thought I had grass sprouting through my mulch, which was quite funny. Now I have my water can. And give them a hit of moisture here. These seed starting trays are quite funny. A friend of mine donated these to me, and I'm grateful for him. But they all have holes. Obviously, these 6 cells, see, this is one whole 6 cell here. These have holes in them, and then the trays have holes in them, which are perfect for a greenhouse if you're just watering from above and the water drips down onto the floor. Well, I'm in a grow room in my basement. I can't do that. So I doubled up the trays and just put a sheet of plastic in between it. I used this method last year. It worked out just fine. You really want to soak these because it's going to soak through and get down into the bottom of all the soil that's inside these 6 cells. And you want that contact of the soil to touch the seed very much so. So I water a little and let it soak in and then do a little bit more, just like that. So that's how I'm going to do all of these trays on this table. So sit tight and watch the hyperlapse. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, here I go as I plant these seeds in these cell trays. The one thing that I would do with this different in the future, which I will do a little bit more because I do have so many different kinds of grow mediums, is to sift the soil. There is a lot of debris in a lot of this. The peat moss had a lot of big chunks in it because I didn't break it up really well with my hands before I used it. So I did go back through there and kind of break it up a little bit. But if I had my choice to do this differently, that is one thing that I would change, is just to sift through all of these grow mediums before I filled the 6 cell trays, before I planted the seeds in there. That's what I would change moving forward next time. Okay, now that I got everything planted, there's one thing I'm going to do on the bunching onions to try as an experiment. As you see, the back right of the 6-pack in all of these trays, see the pelleted seeds? Aren't those awesome? You can see them. These 6-packs here in the back of all of these trays is the bunching onions. So what I'm going to do is, instead of stirring it in with the screw that I've been doing, just kind of mixing it in so that there's a soil to seed contact, I'm just going to pack peat moss on the top of these, dried peat moss, and water them in really good. That way, when the peat moss on the top of the surface dries, it turns to a light brown and you can see if it needs water or not. So then I'll know if I need to bottom water or not. So I haven't stirred any of these in. I've stirred all the others in. You can see that this is kind of broken up a bit. I have not watered all of them. And then what happened is the flat of Italy onions, I did not have a full packet. So I just did the 3 cells on the ends for the flats of Italy. And then I actually, or was that sweet? Nope, that was sweet Spanish. My apologies. So sweet Spanish in the back corners of all of them. I didn't have enough to do, is that right? I don't even remember now. Oh, I'm tired. I don't remember. I think this is the sweet Spanish here in the front. Yes, I did not have enough, a full packet, so I didn't think I'd have enough for all 6 cells. So I just added a couple more here in the front of the sweet Spanish. So what I'm going to do is go get some peat moss so I can top the back of these, and then I'm going to water them in really good. All right, guys, that's it. It is February 17th. I just planted all these trays with onions, and it's 4 separate grow mediums that we're growing these onions in. I covered the bunching onions with peat moss instead of kind of stirring them in the soil, just to see if that's going to help at all with the germination. There is a lot of debris in this potting soil. There's a lot of chunks and bark and like big old chunks like this, bark and wood and stuff like that. So if you are going to use a potting mix like this, I would suggest to sift it. This bag I bought and it was really wet, so I didn't have time to sift it. So I put that in here. That's just really hard for seeds to pop through that big stuff. Sometimes it's too dense and too heavy for little seedlings to get through. So that's why people use a seed starting mix, which this stuff was very fine. This was almost just as fine as you would find peat moss. But peat moss also has a lot of sticks and debris in it. Like this is my peat moss. Like, look how much junk is in this stuff. So there's tons of sticks and big pieces in here also, just for peat moss. So seed starting mix, you want it to be light and fluffy because you want the seeds to be able to jump through there. So stick around. I'll do a follow-up video with this. I don't even know how long it takes for seeds to germinate. Does it tell you? Nope. Doesn't say on that packet. Oh, days to emerge. Nice way to put it. It says 10 to 15 days. So in the next 20 days or so, like probably by the end of February, I will shoot another video, or beginning of March, I'll shoot another video showing you if the seedlings have sprouted and how they look. So stick around. This will be an ongoing video throughout the entire season because I will actually show you how to plant these in the ground outside, how to trim them, and then harden them off out in the sun before we plant them in the ground so they don't get scalded by the sun. All of that wonderful stuff. So I just wanted to share this video with you guys. If you have not yet already, please subscribe. Consider it. It's free. Subscribe to my channel, please. Share my videos if you think somebody would get some information out of it. If you have any tips or tricks that you have done with growing onions yourself, please share it with me. I will try to use that as an experiment, or if there's any videos that you guys want me to do, I'll be happy to do them. Just put them in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to try to experiment with you guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I could not do it without you. Thank you so much. Take care, and God bless.